In the rolling hills of rural Missouri, a young man named Jake lived a carefree life in a sprawling treehouse he'd built behind his parents' farmhouse. At 28, he spent his days swinging from branches, reading comics, and avoiding the responsibilities of adulthood. His mother, long tired of his monkeying around, decided it was time for him to grow up, find love, and build a real life. She hired a savvy matchmaker named Miss Ellie, who scoured the heartland for the most beautiful, athletic country belles, strong, spirited women who embodied the soul of their southern and midwestern states. Miss Ellie brought 5 such gems back to Jake's treehouse, where a small, sturdy wooden table stood in the center like a stage. One by one, each belle climbed up, dressed in a tight white cowgirl-themed corset adorned with details unique to her home state, paired with white socks pulled over her knees, hugging toned legs shaped by hard work and movement. Their dances were bold, expressive tributes, each performance a bid to capture Jake's heart and draw him into a richer, more grounded life. The first belle, Daisy from Kansas Daisy, with sun-bleached blonde hair in neat braids, freckled cheeks and piercing blue eyes, hailed from the endless wheat fields of Kansas. Athletic and nimble from years of harvest work, she carried the quiet strength of the plains. Her tight white cowgirl-themed corset featured sunflower embroidery, the fabric clinging to her strong core. Her dance unfolded like a prairie storm, slow, sweeping arm waves mimicking golden wheat in the wind before building into quick spins and confident kicks that made the table shudder. She twirled an imaginary lasso, her steady gaze anchoring Jake in place. Ending with a firm stomp, she left him feeling the calm pull of her grounded, unwavering spirit. The second belle, Maya from Oklahoma. Maya was a petite beauty with deep mahogany skin, soft curls gathered into a high ponytail, and warm amber eyes that sparkled with wit. Though smaller in stature, she moved with sharp precision, shaped by years of competitive track and dance across Oklahoma's open plains. Her tight, white cowgirl-themed corset was sleek and modern, stitched with subtle lightning patterns inspired by the state's powerful storms. Her dance was fast, clean, and magnetic, quick footwork paired with fluid turns and controlled spins. She moved like a summer storm rolling across flat land, sudden and electric. Her hands snapped in rhythm as her eyes met Jake's with playful confidence. She ended with a graceful leap and poised landing, proving strength came from focus and presence, not size. The third belle, Lily from Iowa. Lily, with corn silk blonde hair pulled into a practical ponytail, fair skin warmed by long days outdoors, and gentle hazel eyes represented Iowa's fertile heartland. Her athletic frame, shaped by baling hay and running fence lines, radiated wholesome strength. She wore a tight, white cowgirl-themed corset trimmed with soft corn husk fringe. Her dance was a joyful tribute to harvest festivals, rhythmic clogging steps blended with easy line dance patterns, feet tapping like rain on silo roofs. Her arms moved in wide, welcoming gestures, her smile warm and sincere. She finished with a small curtsy and an outstretched hand, offering Jake a vision of comfort, family, and enduring abundance. The fourth belle, Pearl from Nebraska. Pearl, a brunette with long waves down her back, sun-touched olive skin, and deep brown eyes full of resolve, came from Nebraska's wide ranch lands. Her lean runner's build reflected endurance earned through long days riding fence lines and managing cattle. Her tight white cowgirl-themed corset featured a bold, abstract bull motif, broad-shouldered and solid, no horns, symbolizing patience, strength, and quiet authority. Her dance was deliberate and grounded. It began slow, each step measured and purposeful, before building into strong, driving movements that showed control and balance. She pivoted and stamped with calm confidence, like a rancher guiding a herd across open range. Ending with a steady stance and lifted chin, she offered Jake loyalty, resilience, and steadfast partnership. The fifth belle, Scarlett from Texas. Scarlett, with jet-black hair in a high ponytail, sun-kissed bronze skin, and sparkling gray eyes, was Texas-born and bred. Her powerful, athletic build, honed through volleyball and ranch life, radiated confidence. She wore a tight white cowgirl-themed corset emblazoned with a lone star, fitted perfectly to her form. Her dance burst with Texas swagger, fast two-step footwork like a stampede across hard ground, blended with sharp turns and playful flair. She tipped an imaginary hat and claimed the space as her own, ending in a dramatic dip and confident grin aimed straight at Jake. She promised big skies, fierce loyalty, and a life lived boldly.
Hee hee, feel the spark.
As the last echoes of imagined banjo strings faded in the treehouse, Jake's heart raced. Each bell had dazzled him, but it was Scarlett's fiery Texas spirit that ignited his dreams of bold horizons. Yet Miss Ellie, ever the clever matchmaker, wasn't ready to let the decision be final just yet. "A true countryman needs a woman who can handle more than a dance," she declared with a knowing smile. "Let's see how these bells fare in the real heart of the farm, the oiled piglet chase." Jake's mother had set up a small, muddy pig pen just below the treehouse ladder, freshly filled with a wriggling, squealing piglet coated head to toe in slick vegetable oil. The little creature darted like greased lightning, grunting and slipping through the straw and muck. One by one, the 5 bells, still in their tight white cowgirl-themed corsets with fringe and silver buckles, white socks pulled over their knees, descended into the pen, determined to prove their mettle. The goal was simple: catch the piglet, give it a victorious kiss on its tiny snout, and show Jake they could tackle life's messy challenges with grace and grit. Daisy from Kansas Daisy went first, her braids swinging as she stepped into the pen. She tried the patient prairie approach, crouching low, arms spread wide like corralling stray calves. When the piglet darted left, she lunged with a quick sidestep, but it slipped right between her legs, leaving a shiny streak across her white corset. Undeterred, she circled slowly, mimicking wheat swaying in the wind, then pounced in a sudden burst of harvest speed. She scooped the squealer up in both arms, oil splattering her freckled cheeks and soaking her socks. Laughing, she planted a gentle kiss on its wriggling snout before setting it down. Mud clung to her knees, oil glistened on her toned midriff, but her blue eyes shone with triumph. Ruby from Oklahoma Petite. Ruby slipped in next, her ebony skin already gleaming under the afternoon sun. She didn't waste time. She charged straight at the piglet with rodeo runner speed, hands outstretched like she was barrel racing. The piglet zigzagged, sending her tumbling into the muck. Oil coated her tight curls and streaked down her corset, turning the white fabric translucent in patches. She popped back up, grinning, then switched tactics. She dropped to her knees and used her small frame to corner the piglet against the fence. With a quick scoop and a triumphant whoop, she lifted it high, gave its snout a sassy peck, and stood there dripping oil and mud, her dark eyes flashing with playful defiance. Lily from Iowa Lily entered the pen with calm determination, her ponytail bouncing. She moved like she was gathering harvest, methodical and steady. She shuffled her feet in soft clogging steps to confuse the piglet, then lunged low when it paused to sniff. It squirted away, splashing oil across her fair skin and soaking her corn husk-fringed corset. Mud smeared her white socks as she slid after it on her knees. Finally, she used both hands in a gentle cradle motion, whispering soothing farm girl words until the piglet slowed. She caught it softly, pressed a sweet kiss to its snout, and rose covered in a mix of oil and earth, her hazel eyes warm with quiet victory. Pearl from Nebraska. Pearl stepped in with the endurance of a long-distance runner. She let the piglet tire itself out first, jogging lightly around the pen in wide circles, her wavy brunette hair flying. When the piglet slowed, she feinted left, then dove right in a swift tackle. Oil flew everywhere, coating her olive skin, streaking her prairie grass-embroidered corset, and turning her socks a muddy grey. She wrestled the slippery creature into her arms, laughing breathlessly, then leaned down to give its snout a firm, proud kiss. Standing tall, mud-splattered and glistening, she looked every bit the resilient pioneer woman. Scarlett from Texas, Scarlett went last, striding into the pen like she owned it. She started with bold two-step footwork, hips swaying to keep the piglet guessing. When it bolted, she dove forward in a volleyball-style slide, arms outstretched. The piglet slipped past, leaving long, oily trails down her bronze skin and Lone Star corset, the white fabric now clinging and streaked with mud. She rolled to her feet, wiped her face with a grin, then charged again, this time using a quick rope trick feint with her hands to herd it into a corner. She snatched it up, planted a bold, laughing kiss right on its snout, and held it aloft like a trophy. Oil dripped from her ponytail, mud caked her knees, but her grey eyes sparkled with unshakable confidence. The pen fell quiet except for the piglet's contented grunts. All 5 bells stood there, oily, muddy, triumphant, looking more beautiful than ever in their dishevelled cowgirl finery. Jake leaned over the treehouse railing, heart pounding harder than before.
Gotcha. You're so cute. Yes, run, Piggy, run.
Miss Ellie placed 5 old wooden chairs in a half-circle beneath the big oak, then set a small crate in front of each one. "These belonged to your great-grandfather," she told Jake. "Traveling showman, ventriloquist, among other things." She smiled knowingly. "Tonight, the dolls do the talking." The crates opened to reveal 5 vintage ventriloquist dolls, hand-carved wood, painted smiles, bright eyes dulled slightly with age. Each belle lifted one onto her lap, settling into the chairs. Daisy went first. The blonde from Kansas adjusted her sunflower-embroidered corset, then tipped her doll's straw hat politely. The puppet had rosy cheeks and a gentle grin. "Well, hello there, Jake," the doll said in a warm, friendly voice. "You should choose Daisy because she's steady as sunrise and kind as a summer field. She wake early, work hard, and make sure you never eat supper alone." Daisy smiled as the doll spoke. "She believes in growing things," the puppet continued. "Crops." The doll tipped its hat again. Jake smiled, comforting, sincere, solid. Next came Ruby. Ruby bounced her petite doll onto her knee. Its painted eyebrows were arched mischievously, mouth snapping open with energy. "Pick Ruby," the doll declared boldly, "because life's boring without a little lightning." The puppet laughed, sharp and playful. "She'll challenge you, push you, and make sure you don't forget how to laugh when things get tough." Ruby grinned wide, eyes sparkling as the doll leaned toward Jake. "You'll never sit still," it said, "but you'll never feel alone either." The crowd chuckled. Jake did too. Ruby's spirit filled the space like a spark. Lily followed. She smoothed her cornhusk-themed corset, its eyes painted gentle blue. When it spoke, the voice was calm and thoughtful. "You should choose Lily," the doll said quietly, "because she listens. When the world gets loud, she'll hear what you don't say." The puppet folded its hands. "She'll build a home that feels safe, even on hard days." Lily's freckles stood out as she smiled shyly. The doll nodded once, satisfied. Jake felt the sincerity settle in his chest. Pearl stood next. Her doll was sturdy, broad-jawed, with a painted chin dimple. She sat up straight. "Choose Pearl," the doll said firmly, "because she doesn't quit." Its wooden hand tapped its knee. "She'll stand beside you when fences break, storms hit, and plans fail." Pearl gave a confident nod as the doll finished. "She's strength you can lean on," it added. "No matter the weather." Jake exhaled slowly. Every answer was good. Every one felt true. Then Scarlett stepped forward. She settled into her chair, gray eyes calm, the Texas star on her corset bright against the white. Her doll was different, older, its paint worn smooth with time, its smile subtle rather than showy. She didn't rush. The doll looked at Jake for a long moment before speaking. "You shouldn't choose Scarlett because she's perfect," the doll said gently. "She isn't." Scarlett smiled faintly. "You should choose her because she chooses back," the doll continued. "Even when it's quiet. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching." The oak leaves rustled overhead. "She won't promise you an easy life," the doll said. "She promised to stay, to laugh when she can, to work when she must, to stand with you, not in front of you, not behind you, beside you." Scarlett's gray eyes lifted to Jake's, steady and unflinching. "And if you stumble," the doll finished softly, "she'll sit with you until you're ready to stand." Silence followed. Not awkward, settled. Miss Ellie nodded once. Jake stepped forward before he realized he was moving. He stopped in front of Scarlett, smiling in a way that surprised even him. "I think," he said, "the doll just told the truth." Scarlett stood, setting the doll gently aside. "Guess it runs in the family," she said lightly. The other bells clapped, warm and genuine. The dolls rested on their chairs, stories spent. As the sun dipped behind the fields, Jake knew the choice hadn't been made tonight. It had simply been spoken out loud.
Tell me your darkest secret, Jake, please.
In the end, there will be a loud noise, and the sky will roll up like a giant scroll.
The little tub sat in the sunlit yard, just big enough for the tiny otter, its whiskers twitching as it slipped into the warm water. Jake had found it near the creek, damp and curious, eyes bright with mischief. "This is going to be something," Miss Ellie warned, arms crossed, a grin tugging at her lips. The 5 bells lined up, barefoot in the grass, white corsets catching sunlight. Daisy's sunflower corset shone bright. Ruby's lightning-themed corset crackled with energy. Lily's cornhusk pattern shimmered softly. Pearl's bull embroidery gleamed strong, and Scarlett's Texas star sparkled against her clean white corset, gray eyes glinting with quiet amusement. Their skin held the faint sheen of oil from the pig wrestling earlier, reflecting the sun like a soft glow. Daisy went first, kneeling beside the tub, hands steady as she held the wriggling otter. She poured warm water over its back, but the little creature shook violently, sending droplets flying onto Daisy's sunflower corset and plastering her hair to her face. She laughed, brushing strands aside. I didn't sign up for a full-on shower. Ruby slid next, petite hands gripping the otter as it wriggled free, flipping to one side and splashing soap bubbles into the air. She tumbled backward, landing in a shallow puddle. Suds clung to her lightning corset and curls, streaking her dark skin. She popped up, shaking her head, laughing. "All right, you win this round, tiny beast." Lily knelt carefully, trying a calm, gentle approach. She coaxed the otter with soft whispers, but it leaped, landing on her lap and sending water arcing over her cornhusk corset. One tiny paw slipped on the slick tub edge, smacking her arm. She squealed, wobbling slightly, but held it steady. "Definitely not like the stories in books," she muttered, grinning through wet bangs. Pearl stepped forward, bull corset gleaming, confident as ever. She lifted the otter gently, trying to rinse the soap off. But the otter squirmed, rolled, and flipped backwards, sending a splash right up to Pearl's shoulders. She sputtered, laughing, shaking water from her hair. "Strength isn't everything, little guy." Finally, Scarlet approached. Barefoot in the grass, her Texas star corset crisp and bright, gray eyes gleaming with calm focus. She knelt by the tub, smiling at the playful otter. "All right, little troublemaker," she said, dipping her hands in the warm water. The otter tried to leap again, but Scarlet laughed softly, letting it tumble onto her thighs. Water splashed over her arms and chest, coating her clean corset with a glossy sheen. She brushed damp hair from her face, gray eyes catching the sun. "You're trickier than you look," she whispered, her tone gentle but certain. Jake watched, heart racing. Each girl had gotten soaked. Each had handled the chaos differently, Daisy with laughter, Ruby with playful surrender, Lily with gentle determination, Pearl with resilience, and Scarlet with a fearless ease that seemed to calm both the otter and the farm. Miss Ellie clapped once. "Well," she asked, "who showed the most farm-ready heart?" Jake stepped forward, scanning the dripping, bubbly bells. Daisy laughed, brushing hair from her sunflower corset. Ruby made a dramatic bow, suds clinging to her lightning design. Lily's freckled smile shone through wet strands. Pearl flexed, droplets sliding off the bull embroidery like tiny rivulets of strength. Then his gaze settled on Scarlet. She knelt by the tub, brushing the otter's ears with steady hands. Her gray eyes bright and calm. Water glistened across her skin and corset. But she looked effortless, like she was made for this kind of playful chaos. Jake's chest tightened. The choice was clear. He stepped forward, taking Scarlet's hand. "This farm doesn't just need someone who can survive chaos," he said quietly. "It needs someone who can stay calm, who can laugh, who can care." Scarlet smiled, gray eyes soft but sparkling. "I'll be here," she said. The other girls cried in sadness, tears rolling down their cheeks. Water dripping everywhere, the otter finally settling in the tub, tired but happy. But for Jake, the decision had been made the moment Scarlet steadied both the otter and him with a glance. As the sun began to dip, golden across the farm, he realized messy or calm, slippery or steady, it didn't matter. Jake belonged to her now, and her to him. Scarlet's gray eyes met his, shimmering with certainty. And that was it. The two held each other's hands.
Why didn't you choose me, Jake? You don't like corn?
Hey!
Otters don't need baths, and it's best to leave them alone in the wild. That's true, we are already aquatic animals.
You didn't want to farm with me, Jake?
The Texas pasture shimmered under the midday sun, a gentle breeze rustling the tall grass like whispers across the open land. Scarlett had chosen fitted athletic wear, a tight white spandex sports top hugging her curves emblazoned with a bold Texas logo. Matching tight spandex bikini underwear clung to her hips, accentuating her toned form. A white choker necklace sat snugly around her neck, its centerpiece a Texas star etched with a subtle skull emblem, a haunting contrast to her beauty. Her grayish hair was in a single ponytail, swaying with each step, framing her striking gray eyes that sparkled with confidence. Barefoot, her feet patted softly against the earth, toes flexing, soles dusted with warm soil. Jake guided her by the hand to the beautiful white pedestal in the horse pasture. She stepped up gracefully, bare feet planting firmly, arches curving as she balanced. The surface felt cool beneath her soles, and she wiggled her toes, gripping the texture. Scarlett began her stretches, a captivating display of poise. She extended her arms overhead, interlocking fingers and arching her back deeply. Her navel dimpled as her core tightened, the spandex top tight against her sun-kissed skin. Beads of perspiration glinted like dew on her body. She shifted into a forward bend, folding at the waist with straight legs, ponytail cascading like a silvery waterfall. Her back arched perfectly, muscles rippling under the fabric. Feet planted, heels lifting slightly as she reached for her toes. Balls pressing into the pedestal, toes spreading for balance. Jake watched, mesmerized, as she held the pose, breath steady, gray eyes glancing up with a serene smile. Transitioning fluidly, Scarlett rose into an angelic pose, standing tall with feet together, toes grounded. She extended her arms outward angelically. 2 fingers pushed outward then upwards as if embracing the heavens. Her torso elongated in divine poise, shoulders relaxed, chest lifted, evoking a celestial guardian. The choker shifted, the skull and the star glinting eerily against her grace. Her navel pulsed with each breath, a vulnerable focal point amid her flawless skin. The air hummed with anticipation for her change. Midway through, Jake approached with a single bucket of cold, crystal-clear mountain spring water, rippling gently. He tilted it over her head, the cool cascade drenching her body in a refreshing torrent. Water rinsed away dust and sweat, rivulets tracing her curves, leaving her glistening. Her ponytail darkened, strands sticking to her neck where the choker gleamed. Scarlett sighed, arching her back as water flowed over her torso, pooling in her navel before streaming down. She shifted her feet, toes squelching in puddles, water coating her soles slippery, making her wiggle them playfully. Once cleansed, Scarlett stepped to the pedestal's edge where Jake had laid her new attire. She shed the soaked spandex, revealing fair skin, fresh and glowing. Her hair lengthened slightly in the light, lengthening into wavy gray strands styled into 2 loose braids over her shoulders, interwoven with white satin ribbons. She donned a fitted white corset top, embroidered with white floral patterns and a tonal white Texas star at its center. Sweetheart neckline framing her décolletage, spaghetti straps on her shoulders, boning cinching her waist to highlight her slender build and playful curves. She added a short, airy white silk skirt flaring to mid-thigh, ethereal in flow. White garter belts fastened around her thighs, straps connecting to thigh-high white stockings, topped with dainty bows. Matching white knee-high socks reached below the knee, completing the innocent yet alluring look. Her ethereal features, fair skin, high cheekbones, contemplative expression shone with confidence, gray eyes meeting Jake's with promise. She stood front-facing, arms at her sides, like a bride adorned for her husband, radiant in the sun-dappled pasture. Resuming her poses, she flowed into a bridge, lying back, hips pressing upward, hands and feet grounding her. Her spine arched gracefully beneath the corset, ribs expanding with deep breaths. Feet flexed in socks, toes curling over the edge, soles arched, fabric whispering against stone. The white star caught the light, symbolizing renewal. Next, a playful twist. Legs crossed in the skirt, one hand behind, the other across her knee. She rotated, braids whipping, back muscles beautiful against the fabric. Stocking-clad feet crossed at ankles, toes interlocked, wiggled as she deepened the stretch. As she finished, Jake approached with a delicate wedding veil. He placed it gently on her head, the sheer white fabric cascading like mist, framing her braids and enhancing her bridal aura. With tender strength, he lifted her off the pedestal, cradling her briefly before setting her feet on the grass. They joined hands, fingers intertwining, and walked together toward the ancient woods at the pasture's edge.
so beautiful.
He is. And he likes you.
I can feel it.